All right, hello. Oops. Let me just fix that. I'm not going to wear headphones to start with, but hello, hello. Why is everything off slightly? Oh, there we go. Hello. Yes, it's been a while. I'm not going to wear headphones yet. I might in a little bit. But there's not too much planned for tonight. Just kind of a very chill stream and sort of a catch up with everyone. Move this. There we go. Now I'm in the middle of the frame. Hello, hello. And thank you. Yes, happy Pride. Or I guess I would have to reach all the way back here. Let's see. There you are. Right there. So I can kind of control chat from back there, but also it's in front of me, obviously, but that's so you guys can see yourself behind me. Um, let's see. I'm just making sure that this is running correctly, and then I'm gonna. Where's my phone? Uh, yes, I logged into OBS. Thank you, phone. Where Cat? Cat is when she comes and annoys me. I will show Cat. She annoys me enough that she is shows up often enough. Here, I'm just posting this to Insta. Gotta make the face for it. All right. If you're bored, I'm streaming tonight. Yeah, this not much planned. This is just sort of the first of like getting into the habit of streaming every Sunday because I think that's kind of what we're gonna do from now on. Um, my second channel. Okay, greetings from a few places. Speaking of Cat, push my door open. Hi from Amtrak Training Films TV. Well, I have I actually edited a few things for this stream. Mainly the if I get up and have to go somewhere, you will see a commercial break that I've edited together, which is kind of fun. Also, hopefully my voice and video is pretty synced. I am using my nice camera, as you can see. And since I'm using my nice camera, there's a little bit of latency that's introduced with it. So I have the microphone slightly delayed. Otherwise, yeah. First is a transit employee. Working paratransit. That's cool. I need to actually go through all this stuff. Yeah, you notice well, that's a little bit crooked. Let me fix that. All right, fix that. Not almost. But what is it? The yeah, we have a little studio here, and that's what's if you saw my other video on the second channel, it's going to allow me to do more of these talking head style videos with sort of a more studio setup, which I've always sort of wanted originally. And yeah, we have a little PVM back there that my friend found in a community college that was just throwing it in the trash, and I was like, can I have it? And so that's why I have that one. I have another bigger one that's on the other side of my monitors, but still figuring out what to do with those. You're going to see more of those in future video projects. I also have like an old analog mixer console, so I'm going to try to incorporate that into more things, including streams. Hello from South Philly. Well, hello from Northeast Philly. I'm not super far northeast, but I'm in the Northeast. Somerville, Boston. Yes, which should just be Boston. Use a larger TV. The text is too blurry. Well, part of the other reason is since I'm using the nice camera, we have a big sensor, big lens. So that means depth of field is not super far. Now, if I make the f-stop closer to like, I don't know, 7 or 8, it should make more things into focus. So I might do that in a little bit, but this allows me to get a good video and also not have to crank up the ISO too high, which makes the video look like crap. Have you ever considered being Secretary of Transportation? Because Yeah, no, I'm not super high up. Alan, you are looking at the monitor, not the camera? Yes. No, I mean I can't look at both. I did have a boss once that he was a LinkedIn fiend, is the best way to describe him, and he had a drop-down camera that went into the center of his screen, and so he could look in the Zoom call at the person, but the camera was in the middle of the screen. It was, I've never seen that before, but he was like, he was LinkedIn Zoom fiend. What do we have? California governor election is quite bad. No, I've been watching it. It's there's a small chance Steyer can possibly still be in it, but I'm obviously not too hopeful, unfortunately. Will you do a video on Queens League? Yes, I actually have been talking to them, and I will be doing something. I have to do something before the end of the month because that is sort of the deadline of trying to pester Mondami and the state essentially to do something. According to what I've been told, is that the Mondami admin is sort of doing something. They're just being kind of quiet about it. So I don't know. Also, is my stream lagging, or is it having a moment? No, it says the quality is good, right? Stream health. Stream is healthy. Huh. It just looks weird on my other monitor. Yes, so let's see. Happy Pride. Yes, I do have where is it? The flag over there. Next on that PRR lantern. At least the LA mayor election is going better. Yeah, at least that Republican guy is not gonna be in the top whatever. Yeah, no, I'm hoping that for somehow the Steyer is able to come back in the California election. He is the best pick. Unfortunately, I think most people forget. That California, up until like the 2000s, was a Republican state, and only until after Schwarzenegger did it really start being consistently blue. People forget that. People forget that California actually has a lot of very conservative policies and very conservative sort of values, I guess, in certain ways. And it hasn't been that long since it's been a solidly blue state. Let's see. Wait, I should go back to... No, not that. There we go. Would you support Philly joining NJ for transit support? That's a difficult question. There are some very upsides and very downsides to that. Now, would I want... I wish mega regions were more centered, or American states were more centered around cities and how they were designed, but... yeah. How's DC treating me? Well, I'm down there sometimes. My girlfriend is in the DC area, so I am down there a lot. And so you will probably be seeing more DC content just because I'm like around, I guess, is the best way to say. But the next one, I have a few. I mean, the next few videos, which I teased in the video on this channel, is probably going to be, one is about sort of the history of why boomers and Gen X don't like cities, which I've been writing for a bit, and I've never seen someone cover that topic well, and so I'm doing that. And then there's one, I've recorded stuff for Amtrak, I've recorded stuff for SEPTA, and I've recorded stuff for Sound Transit, so I owe those videos. Possible WMATA video. Yeah, maybe at some point. Honestly, the more interesting things to me about DC is probably the through running like MARC and VRE, or just the heavy rail stuff that's around DC. You visit the National Capital Trolley Museum. Yes, I need to go there. The Baltimore Streetcar Museum is very good. I need to go back to that. Last time I was there, they actually had a thing where you could drive the trolleys if you purchased like an extra ticket thing, which is kind of fun. Meowdy, hello. I am actually regarding California. Oop, why did my camera? Oh, what is going on with my computer? All right, hold up. My computer. Am I? I assume I'm still. Let me open my phone and look. What is my computer doing? This computer needs to be replaced. Like it is. Um. Like it is. Okay, I see the audio. All right, I might have to restart this. I hate this fucking computer. Um. All right, I will be back really quickly, or as fast as I can be. There we go. Audio should be working now. Yeah, I love how the. I don't know why this computer is the way it is. Definitely needs to be replaced at some point, or at least fixed. I think honestly, a large. Honestly, the biggest problem with this, I think this computer is it hates Discord. It absolutely hates Discord. If I have Discord open and other programs open, Discord, like, I don't know, something about it just bloats and makes the computer crash. So annoying. Discord is a bloated, buggy piece of shit. And it's basically just a Chrome instance that has like the web page running, which is so, uh, um, let me see. I'm trying to fix the, oh yeah, let me get the chat back in the monitor. All right. There we go. Discord sucks. Wouldn't recommend desktop using Discord in a browser. Yeah, I know. That's, I swear, half the problem of the program. Okay. We're just going to close that for now. So I had two ideas of what we're going to do tonight mainly. Is one, obviously you all like looking at maps. That is like half the thing that we enjoy here. Whoops, I did not want to do that with... Okay. Stop OBS, please. We all like looking at maps. So that's like one thing we can do. Philly Cinestill, thank you. I have been shooting a lot of film recently. Well, in the last year or two. Can't believe it's been like 2 years since I really started shooting a lot of stuff. Actually, there's a lot of the stuff down here below me is a lot of my film cameras, or a lot of the bodies for the film cameras, because I really like a certain body of film cameras, the Minolta 7000s, which are the Sony and Minolta AF mount lenses, which are really good and really cheap. If you want to get into a, let's see, get one that doesn't look like shit. If you want to get into film photography really cheap, you get one of these guys. They are like, you can easily find them for like 20-30 bucks on eBay. This is like a camera from the mid 80s. And the cool part about it is, do I have my Sony with me? Where is my, oh, it's over there. I might grab that. But you can even import your old Discord server into Template. I might do that. At some point I need to switch, but keep saying you want to keep the Minoltas a secret, but you keep yes. No, I will eventually do a video on these. The real secret is I will buy 50 of these and then I will have all of them from eBay and then sell them. No, I won't do that. But these things are awesome. They the mount that's on these cameras is the AF mount that eventually turned into the Sony A mount. So there's a lot of backwards compatibility with these things. And they essentially have all the features of a camera you could like. The only thing that why these people don't like these is it doesn't look old. It looks like a more modern camera, and it has like digital buttons here instead of like the knobs and stuff. So it's because it looks more like a modern camera and feels more like a modern camera. A lot of people don't like them. I want the AE1, I want the Nikon F3 or something. Like, people like the old stuff, which I can appreciate. I have a bunch of old cameras too. Yeah, let me show you. These, I have so many bodies of these because I buy these just for other parts to strip them and fix other cameras. But like, I'm a fan of the old stuff too. Like, I have older cameras like this guy. This is a Kodak Retina 2, a rangefinder. So there's no way to see like that little sight that just sees through the little box here. It does not see through the lens. So rangefinders are a bit hard to use. I remember you saying something controversial about the opinions of UP-NS merger. Yeah, basically, okay. So like, this requires a whole video to explain, obviously, and that's one of the videos that will be coming this summer because it's very topical, obviously, and I want to get that out. But actually, let me see if I can just open like the stream diagnostics on my phone, because that would be really nice if I could do that instead of using the computer. But essentially, the UP-NS stuff is, I'm not actually that like critical of it as a lot of people are, because I honestly think that can I not use, okay, do I have to use like the YouTube Live something? I don't know. They always change this stuff and I never know what to use. But anyway, the UP-NS stuff is essentially like, monopolies suck, but one of the upsides of monopolies is that when you have the big thing, you can make it really efficient, and you can also like get rid of a lot of inefficiencies. And railroads are a great example of that. The new Well, There's Your Problem on the merger had me kind of nervous about it. I will have to watch that. I have not watched that yet. I assume they probably mentioned the Union Pacific merger in the 1990s, which was basically that was a shit show. But I think I'll get to the Nikon comment. But I think the thing that people are missing here with the merger is that, well, one, Norfolk Southern sucks. So any improvement over Norfolk Southern is not a bad thing. That's kind of the base level of thinking. And the other thing is that one current problem with American railroading is that everything goes through Chicago. And if you had a big railroad from east to west that necessarily didn't have to connect through Chicago, you could avoid a lot of the problems. You could also alleviate a lot of congestion around Chicago, possibly leaving more slots for passenger rail. So there's a lot of actual positives about it, but the problem is that politically, I cannot be super positive about it, because generally there's a lot of people against it that they're right, but like the unions, for example, like the unions are right. They're right that this merger will probably get rid of jobs. Now, is that a bad thing necessarily? No, because some of those jobs are very redundant when you make a giant railroad. Like, you don't need as many maintenance facilities. You don't need as many yards, because the railroad is more efficient. You are moving stuff from here to there without having to stop in between an interchange. Now, what I wish the unions would focus on is that, okay, so you have the big railroad, whatever, and you theoretically, like, if you got rid of some jobs, I wish the unions would focus on, okay, if this happens and those jobs go bye-bye, then we need other jobs. But instead of just mandating the sort of dead end of having a lot of redundant shops, you can think a little bit further and be like, hey, we know you're not going to need this many shops because this railroad is one, and you don't need redundant shops, et cetera, et cetera. But we need jobs because we have livelihoods, et cetera, et cetera. Take some of our workers, train them to do other things. Like one could be, hey, now you have a lot of slots in Chicago that just opened up. That means you can have more Amtrak and Metro trains. Promise that those union members will get transferred from their place, like wherever they're working, to work some of those jobs for passenger stuff that now gets to open up and operate. Everyone wins then. But we don't have those conversations because that kind of thinking is sort of tough to maintain, because not only does the unions have to like talk in a fashion that argues for that case, but then you have to convince UP that they should go through the effort of doing stuff like that. And now, granted, you're supposed to go through the government, and the government is then going to force UP to do stuff like that. And of course, a lot of the same people that might be working for the railroad might have also voted for this stupid administration that's probably not going to defend them. Now, I still will fight for all this stuff, but it's just frustrating that, like, I wish we had a little bit forward thinking, you know? And I wish we had the ability to be like, okay, instead of keeping the redundant job, let's make a whole new thing that's actually more efficient and better and more useful for our time, money, and energy and human capital. But we don't usually do that. So yeah, let me read. Well, I will be seeing Big Boy either next weekend when it's running through the Poconos, or obviously when it comes here in Philly. Your Uncle P's marrying horse. Norfolk Southern does suck, but the Class 1 horse, yeah. Well, I mean, they will probably keep some locomotives. Like, I mean, when Conrail got disbanded, the blue locomotives basically floated around for the next 10, 15 years before they disappeared. Maybe the merger will fail and they get a national railroad out of it. Well, that's the other thing, is that I will finish the video and sort of talk about, hey, if you have one big railroad instead of four, it's a lot easier to nationalize one of them instead of many of them. But that will be sort of the ending of the video that I'm writing. Couldn't they create a joint-owned subsidiary and have a group of people focused on operating or shortcuts minor branches tied to them? Well, that's just what Class 3s are, essentially. That's essentially what G&W is, Genesee and Wyoming. So I forgot I'm not logged in. Sign into chat. Oh my god. Can I... Cool. I love this program. So good. Gotta open back up Chrome. Oh, did it open up? Thank you. Yeah, because chat closed when I tried to log into the thing through OBS. Love that. But yeah, essentially, let's see, what was your question? Well, Mata faces a similar hurdle with modernization, automating the red line and others, and one of its union opposes the job loss in culture comparing to Japan. Yeah, I wish the unions would be a bit more forward thinking about, like, hey, if this gets automated, we're fine with it being automated, but we need the jobs to move somewhere else or to be useful for something. And so, like, I wish they would be like, okay, if this is getting automated, put a bunch of our operators on other lines that aren't, or let's do a bunch of bus routes that, like, aren't necessarily operating yet. But this is going to become more and more of a, I don't want to say problem, but it's going to be more and more of a talking point as we go further into the future, and automating stuff in general using artificial intelligence might be a thing. So this is a problem not only with transit, but kind of with everything. because at some point we will get self-driving buses. Now, will there be a person on board always? Maybe, probably. But I don't know. It's one of those things where I wish people planned for this stuff and not just said like totally against something completely to the point of where they were just they there was no thinking about, okay, if it does happen, what do we do? I wish there was a little bit more thinking in that direction. Um, no, I know what you're talking about. I know you're talking about automated trains have existed for a long time. I mean, BART was originally supposed to be driverless, and had ATO. Patco had ATO. Like this stuff has existed for a long time, but it wasn't until like the 80s or 90s that we actually got true automated trains with Vancouver SkyTrain and some of the other stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, all the self-driving bus and car stuff is kind of suspicious, susceptible. Um, yeah, so let me go scroll up and see a few of those other comments because I missed them. Where was the camera one? It was a camera. It was a camera comment. Or what was this? First Amtrak Cascades train site is Seattle. They're now testing it. Yes, I saw. I also saw some person took off at SeaTac and was like out the window, like taking a video of it, which is very funny. Um, let's see. Looking at getting a Nikon F camera because I have a Nikon Z6 and a bunch of their lenses. Yeah, that works. I wouldn't necessarily base the film camera you want to use off of like the lenses you do have, because sometimes you can just get a sick deal on something. That's kind of what I did with the Minoltas, because like I have my main shooter is a Fujifilm X-T5. That's currently what's you guys are seeing me through. But obviously those lenses don't really translate to any film camera. So like I don't can't really, modern digital cameras are so far away from film now that it's like kind of hard to transfer the lenses. Um, let's see what else here. They really want to agree with you about the passenger rail thing, but you know damn well they're going to keep posing passenger rail. Uh, it's not even the passenger rail thing. It's the fact that like this requires two parties to agree on something. First, you have to like get the unions to be like, "Hey, we don't totally oppose this merger, and if it does happen, we need these conditions." Like, you know, and that's like that's hard to go from no, we oppose this completely, it should not happen, to, well, if it does happen, here's the stipulations for making it happen. Like, I'm sure there's something behind the scenes happening with negotiations relative to something like that. But knowing some of these unions, there's probably not, honestly. And so it's that, and it's with UP, it's like part of what I was saying is that yeah, you will you will so part of the reasons why I'm saying passenger trains will happen for two reasons. It's two reasons. One, Chicago's going to empty out, not like totally, but it's a decent amount of traffic, maybe like 10 to 20% of traffic that goes through Chicago currently probably won't. So that opens up a lot of time slots and a lot of tracks for passenger in Chicago. So that's just one aspect of it. The other aspect is that usually when a merger happens between two railroads and they have to go to the STB and be like, please, can we merge? The STB is usually like, okay, you got to give us some things. And usually what some of those things are in the past have been better Amtrak services or starting an Amtrak service. The last one that was a good example was Kansas City Southern merging. Canadian Pacific just bought Kansas City Southern. And so to make the merger happen, one of the stipulations was you're going to allow the Borealis to happen, or whatever was the Borealis is called before it actually got named. The STB was basically like, you're going to allow Amtrak to run another train, you're going to do all the track upgrades, and then we might let you merge. And so that's why the Borealis happened. The Borealis was like came from the fact that those two railroads were merging and they had to play nice. And so what the video will be talking about is I wish more people were talking about the fact, like, if this merger is going through, you need to get on the ass of your congressperson and be like, hey, this merger's happening. You can argue for a better Amtrak service or increased Amtrak service or one to even exist if you are on UP or NS's network. And so it's a bit frustrating that I have heard no one talk about that. Because honestly, at this point, I think this merger will happen. It's just a matter of time and a matter of paperwork. And especially because obviously we have the Cheeto Benito in chief currently that's just going to sign off on it because UP gave them money or something. Helen livestream, hello from Australia. Hello. We're taking most of the Gold Runner cars, some of the Capital cars. Oh, I hate that it's called the Gold Runner. That's a whole video, by the way, on the San Joaquin's like council and division and people and Caltrans and all that stuff that's like mixed in with that. Oh my god, it's a mess. Let's see. They still want one only cruise. Yeah, no, that's the one thing that I think the unions are completely right about, and there's no question about it, is that you should always have two-person crews on trains. Even if the train drives its damn self, you do not want one-person crews. You do not want totally automated trains without people on them, because something will always happen, and people being able to walk back and check the train and everything and just monitor stuff. You have a large heavy object that is moving a lot of shit. You do not want it to be manned by just one person or totally automated. That's just bad. Why are so many U.S. transportation agencies against electrification? It's just it's two things. One, a lot of people that end up at transportation agencies, especially if you're doing heavy rail stuff or regional rail stuff, just came from the freight railroads oftentimes. And so they just don't believe in it. They don't think it's needed. And then other times it's because we've never done it. Why should we do it? Essentially, it's literally just in industry or agency inertia, and that's it. If you can like make them escape that, then you're doing a whole lot better. So let me pop out the chat here so I can actually not have it in the window. There we go. I can close this. Whoops. Bring that back up. Okay. And now, okay, so we're gonna try to play a game. And I have been playing a specific game. When are you doing the second YouTuber roast? Well, if the channel, I will make you a promise. As the channel gets to 300,000, which I'm going to try to work on this year, then I'll do the roast. Because we do need another one, especially because like the original roast was actually pretty accurate. There's just obviously a lot of people that are missing from it because it's old at this point. Oh, there it goes. What do you think of Portland's Max Light Rail compared to Seattle's? Portland is, it's good. There's just a lot of problems with land use around a lot of the stations. What roast? I've watched your channel for 3 to 4 years. If you scroll really far back on the main channel, you will find a 20K subscriber. It's basically a roast of other Urbanist channels, other related channels. And honestly, I think about 90% of that roast is still really accurate and relevant. I think especially with a few creators on there. That's not good. I would simply not derail a train. Anyway, since we have, let me guess, Not Just Bikes. Well, Not Just Bikes is one of them in there, which I was pretty accurate with my roast on there with him. It wasn't that long. It's not a very long part for him on there, but it is accurate. There are some non-urbanist people on there I think are pretty accurate too. Electric trains can be wind power generated, but not wasted. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons to do electric trains. I mean, one of the coolest part about electric trains is regenerative braking, and not even like passenger. You're thinking too short or close in when you think about regenerative braking. Think about Cajon Pass. If you have an electric locomotive that's pulling up one side of the pass and you have an electric locomotive that's going down the other side of the pass, the one that's going downhill, all of that braking energy can go back into the wire to then go and power the one that's going up the hill. It's like essentially a ton of free energy that these railroads are wasting by not doing this shit. Roz is still good friends with Not Just Bikes. Yeah, because Roz is really inoffensive. He's never really gonna call someone out usually for doing something. I think he was in the Netherlands recently, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was visiting Jason. Let's see. Roz is still, obviously, I see him once in a while in Philly, but I haven't seen him in a long time, since last year. He's been doing a lot, and I think he's also doing a lot better. For a bit, I think he was having not the best time, I think, when it comes to maybe mental health stuff. But he's doing, I think, a bit better. I think this trip is like a great example of that. I think he's actually enjoying doing things again. Yeah, they took a selfie together. Oh, that doesn't surprise me. Not Just Bikes has me like blocked on basically everything, which I think is really funny. He even blocked me on what was the funny one? What was a goofy ass one? There was a goofy one, but he essentially if there's one person that's really bad at taking criticism like at all, it's him. And it's like to a ridiculous margin, because like I'm fine with taking criticism. I know I'm stupid sometimes, and I know I screw something up or say something that I once in a while will apologize and backtrack for. I think that's just natural to do. I don't think anyone is completely right. And sometimes, hey, you just have a shitty attitude. Like, that's just a thing. But for some reason, he has always been really bad at taking criticism. Like, even back in the beginning, he would talk to me about the fact that he like moderates his comments to like a really ridiculous degree. And I'm like, why even bother? It's YouTube. It reveals how much of an ego he has. I don't think it's I wouldn't say the ego is the problem. I would say that I think he ties a lot of his self image into his videos, because his videos are a reflection of the decisions that he has made in life, specifically to live in the Netherlands. And I think that when you insult the Netherlands or insult some of the decisions or ideas that he have, it's an insulting like his choices. I think that's why, or at least that's my psychoanalyzation of the situation, but maybe I could be wrong. I have a lot of super chats I want to offload. Live streaming for a while. Yes, it's been a while. Deranged finding Milwaukee box cabs. We're saving the Joes. I like box cabs, but they all kind of look the same. The Milwaukee ones are a little different though, because they're kind of like a weird multi-staged version. What do you think about the channel Build the Lanes? Fine. I've seen some of their stuff. I like Streetcraft personally more. I've actually met Noah. He's pretty cool. Thoughts on Isaiah L. Carter? I know you've interacted with him on Twitter. Noticed a lot of minority groups recently opposed Isaiah Carter. Why is that name? I'll have to look him up. I'm trying to think who he is. Isaiah Carter. Oh, is he like a council person? No. I'll have to look him up on Twitter later. I'm looking so AI generated today. Ooh. Well, it's probably, like I said, I'm using the nice camera. See, focus on my hand, please. There we go. See, it's like really detailed because it's the nice camera. And now it focuses back on me. Streetcrafts has some nice videos, and some videos I think are just, his videos are very surface level. There's no real opinion past surface level improving things, and teaching people about how roads work and traffic flow. I think Noah's great. I think that he is very inoffensive. He tries to be very inoffensive, and that's fine. Not everyone can be sort of very ham-fistedly sort of talking about their own sort of opinions on stuff, which that's what I do. Isaiah L. Carter. Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. In reliance. Or wait. Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he has like a LinkedIn looking ass picture on Twitter. I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I don't like him now. He's just I can never tell if those people are actually posting like is that actually their opinions or are they like just posting like are they what's the best way to describe this? Like if there's so many conservatives out there that I don't think what they post is actually their opinion. They just want to post or be uh shit, what's the word? They just want to be I can't think of the word. They just want to post the opposite opinion. I can't think of the actual word I want to say, but um they just want to be contrarian. Yes, that's what I was looking for. They just want to be contrarian. Their entire like personality is built around, ooh, these smart people, I don't like what they say because they're so stuck up. I'm just going to say the opposite. And a lot of opinions that conservatives come up with are purely because of that. They purely just don't like what someone's saying because they have a certain vibe, and so they got to say the opposite. And that's it. So oftentimes I find that they don't really have an opinion. And their opinion is entirely formed because it's the opposite of someone else. And that's why like you'll often see like conservatives in spaces like kind of explode if there's no liberal voices around, or they can't like they kind of have to follow liberals around because they can't be in their own bubble, because in their own bubble it's really boring because everyone just kind of says the same thing. Where liberals, on the other hand, even liberals, even not even including leftists type, just in between liberals, they infight. Even within leftists, they infight. And they obviously both fight because it's like they're both pretty smart people for the most part. They form their own opinions, but they all have different opinions. And so that's why a lot of the times you never see as much unification on the left side of stuff as much as the right side, because the people on the right side are all just evil or stupid or a mixture of two. And so they can easily agree on something because they all bandwagon something or are contrarian on something. Thoughts on Hunter Biden arc? Honestly, he'd be a pretty good leader. He has problems. I think he's not perfect. I think I would rather pick someone else, but if he's the one that is able to kind of unify everyone, I wouldn't be surprised. They just lack a certain amount of self-reflection and are really defensive opinions gain over. Yes, agreed. Speaking of elections and politics, what are some thoughts on the races in California? Well, the LA election, luckily they didn't pick the stupidest person. I'm very happy about that. And then the California governor election, I think is over, but they're still counting votes. So hopefully Strayer or Stayer, however you say his name, I hope he's in the top two. Hope the Republican guy gets kicked out, I guess, and it's just the one guy that's an Exxon Mobil puppet, and then the other guy that's or Strayer. I hope it's those two. But I still a decent amount off in votes, so we'll see. I can tell you they very much infight. Yeah, they infight, but their infighting's like different than leftists and liberals. It's like their infighting is more like I am more evil than you. I want to kill Mexicans, or I want to kill black people, or whatever, or brown people, etc., immigrants more than you do, and so I am better than you, or I'm a different level than you, and so it's like all the they're just evil. Like it's like it's two things. I think it's like a lot of conservatives are just they never grew up. They never grew up. They never faced like there's two types. There's either the one type that's more of a rich side of people, um where you get like the Republicans that have come from more wealthy upper class, et cetera, et cetera. And they've just never faced sort of a large hurdle in their life, and they've always been handed stuff, and so they never understand why so many other people need handouts or like help essentially, or like anything. And so they just don't get it. They just never have matured in their mind. They still have the mindset of like, well, I never had a problem, why should you? And then the other half is the one that's like self-loathing, sort of masochistically lives their life where they have lived a hard life. Why are these other people not suffering? So I because I'm suffering, and I want to get better in life, but also at the same time I want to make other people's lives suffer. That's sort of the two mental thoughts that I've run into. Stayer rhymes with buyer. Okay. Steyer rhymes with buyer. Okay, that makes sense. Still counting votes in California, and we'll face either. Okay. Rereading some of these comments. Yeah, oppose upzoning in dingy YMCA. Yeah, I mean, people can be Democrats and very NIMBY. That's not uncommon, especially older people, because a lot of people, when they just get older, they just don't want things to change. Change is very scary, and that's half the problem with NIMBYism. I hope Steyer wins, or at least gets in the top two. That would be really nice. I think he's a great pick, and it's really a shame that California didn't pick him first. Or the ones that have not gotten an education, so they choose to not question anything to see. I think, yeah, I agree. But I think that group also belongs in the masochistic group, where they just don't know any better and they've suffered, so they want other people to suffer. I think that's a similar kind of mindset. Let's see. Thoughts on Amtrak doing... or wait, let me read Japan America Ours first. SB 79 in California starts July 1st. Cities can delay part, but half of San Diego's area goes into effect on the 1st. 5 to 8 stories next to every train VRT stop. I really hope California has a way, or at least California cities really have a way of shooting themselves in the foot repeatedly, even if the state is forcing them to do something. And I really hope that this like kind of crackdown from top down really works, because California is one of the only states in the country, because a lot of East Coast states, we don't get it. We don't understand how the West Coast works. West Coast works differently, especially California works differently from the Northeast. The way that California works is the cities have more power than the state, and the state is just a little bit of glue that's holding the cities together. Where in the Northeast, it's the opposite. The state has the power and basically has the cities on a leash. So we don't really understand how that works in California, because it's the opposite. It's San Francisco, LA, et cetera, all the other big cities. It's just like they all basically for the longest time controlled the state, not the opposite way around. And now we're coming into a time period where the state for the first time is actually telling the cities what to do, and that's a big thing. I grew up in the middle class Republicans who didn't end up suffering, and I know exactly what we're talking about. Yeah. Writing an article, San Diego's information. That's good. And thoughts on Amtrak doing leaseholding improvement leverage to buy out right-of-ways. I mean, there's a lot that could go into that. I mean, every right-of-way that Amtrak owns that they control is a better right-of-way than ones that are not. And so, honestly, anything that they can do to just get power over buying something is a good thing. No matter how they do it versus state control or not. Former DMV transit foamer. Do you live in the DMV? No, I don't. I live in Philly. But I go to DC a lot currently because my girlfriend's down there. I find that Randy Clark, since mid 25, has started getting mild criticism, and it has literally nothing to do with the rail and bus operation. Yes, that's because, well, I see there's other people commenting. Most nonsensical things, Gold Line, streetcar. Yeah, I mean, the two things that Randy probably has like gotten the most flack for is the fact that he's been having to work with the Trump admin because DC is de facto controlled by the federal government. Um, which, like, if he wants to keep his job, that's kind of what he has to do. And so, like, unfortunately, that's what they, and like, he's been doing more fair enforcement, police, et cetera, because of that. And so I don't know. I don't know because like I on one side I see what people are saying of like, oh, you can fight back a little bit, but also I don't think you can currently. And if you, especially if you're in DC, they could probably just replace you pretty easily or figure out how to replace you pretty easily. So I don't know. He's better than other people because of that, but I think other transit GMs would do the same thing. Let's see. Before I go to the next one, getting flagged for requiring bus drivers to stay. Yeah, that's I think, but that's I think handled from the federal DOT is forcing them sort of to do that. Um, anyway, thoughts on the race? California's 11th district to replace Nancy Pelosi. Um, was it Scott Wiener? I think is running for that possibly. He's okay. He's okay on everything except for Israel. He has some stupid opinions about that. So I don't know who I would necessarily support for that. Um, I I don't know who else is running for that currently, so I'd have to look up stuff. Um, let's see. Uh, take $2. Go buy Train Mechanic Sim 2017. Train Mechanic Sim. What is that? Or just Train Sim? You mean? I do have a game running that we will open up in just a sec. But let me look up what you're talking about because I've never heard about that. Oh, why is it? Let me see. Train Mechanic Sim. What is this? Oh, it's like a Russian or European one? Oh no, it's like, oh, interesting. This is like, huh. I'll have to put this on my wish list and I will get it next time. Oh, I see it's on sale. Okay. I see. Okay, I will have to get that in the next day or two then. Scott Wiener versus Connie Chan. I mean, it's both not amazing picks. Nancy Pelosi endorsed Connie Chan, but I will be voting for Scott Wiener. Yeah, Scott Wiener's probably the better choice out of the two. I've not heard good things about Connie Chan, and like the only bad thing about Scott Wiener is probably the whole like stance on Israel, but that can probably change. Um, I feel that Pennsylvania should make rail right of way from Erie to Philadelphia and be called the Keystone Flyer. I mean, there's a way to do that. Giant douche versus turd sandwich. That's a lot of elections, unfortunately. Anyway, let me open the game that I have opened because um, since all right, let me see if this will work. Can I game capture specific window? Not Civilization. We're not running that. We are running instead because we're running Kerbal Space Program. Because we have I have been watching a lot of space stuff since Artemis, and so this is the what we're going to play today. I'm actually going to start a new save because a lot of my older saves, I have a lot of just stuff that's in those older saves that just needs to not exist. So we're going to do sandbox. Let's see. We're going to call this armchair, what was it? Armchair Rockets Division. Let's just do that. Sorry I'm late. Happy Pride is just over in Delco. Yeah, there's a lot. I went to some of the Pride stuff yesterday. I didn't really go much today. I wonder if my, if I go into VAB, does my other models from other saves get in here? Yes, they do. Okay, so all my other contraptions show up. Or no, these are all the stock ones. There's my other ones. 92. Some of them are probably broken because they're probably missing some I have some very stupid names in here from some of my older so we'll have to build something new. But there's some older funny ones in this. Okay, cancel. More like Kerbal Base Program, yes. So, okay, for those that don't know what this is, because let me go back out of the VAB. So for those that don't know what Kerbal Space Program is, it's essentially like, here's the Space Center right here. There's Kerbal there's the Space Center where you start out on Kerbal, which is the equivalent to Earth in this game. And this game is all about there's like two levels to the game. The first level is building the contraption, right? And then once you build the contraption and you can get stuff working and you understand staging and you understand how rockets work, then you get to orbit, and then the real challenges begin. Because after you get to orbit, you then get to experience orbital mechanics, and you get a whole solar system to basically explore. And the solar system that you have is essentially, it's not our solar system. It's a different solar system that is supposed to be equivalent to ours. Like there's a lot of stuff, like obviously Kerbin is Earth. You have Eve, which is your Venus. You have Moho, which is your Mercury equivalent. You have Duna, which is Mars. Obviously reference to Dune. And then Jool is like Jupiter. If we go into this one, big gas giant, and then it also has its own moons, which you can see here. So if you get really good at this game, you can send stuff out to even the furthest planets like Jool and do different missions and kind of build your own missions or whatnot. So I will get today, we're going to let chat come up with the mission we need to do, and then we're going to build something for that mission. We should build a Rohom rocket. Well, okay, we have to construct the mission is like we have to go to the moon and do something, or go to Minmus and do something. So I have to figure that out. Build a rocket to find intelligent life. The intelligent life is not in chat, no. Build the rocket to find if chat exists. Call it the shitfuck Mark III. Okay, well we have to we have to do the Mark I first. Boldly go. There's where no one, not where no one is going, just boldly go. We're just going. And so yeah, this game is basically you get to choose if you want a manned vehicle or a probe essentially. Build an Amtrak rocket. I think we could be able to do that because I could import a flag because there's mission flags up here, which we'll do in a sec. So let's build a tiny thing. Let's build a tiny thing and try to get to the moon. Because I think this holds one person. Yeah, crew capacity. So we'll just build a small moon mission. I think will be the easy way to do something. Let's see. I guess we'll just build something with the Mark 1 because we're not going to try to build something too big. Oop. So we should be able to, where's the, so you can actually import flags. Unless I don't have them in my folders. I guess I would need to import them into my folders, but you can choose different flags that are in here. I would need to, I guess, open the folder and drop an Amtrak one in, which we can do in a bit, but we'll choose just one of these first. I guess the bullseye one. Whatever happened to KSP2? Well, that's a whole story. Is KSP2 essentially it stopped. There's like multiple levels of this, but essentially KSP2 had a lot of problems to start with, and then the developer kind of like got bought by someone, and then when they got bought, they weren't really like fully funded, and then they basically ran out of money, and then they also just, the bigger developer just disbanded them, and so it's kind of a dead project. I don't think it's ever going to get revived. KSP1 is better if you can just get the mods working for this game. So that's what I'd always recommend. But we need to go to aerodynamics, utility, or no, where is parachutes? That's somewhere. I need to get better at remembering stuff or where stuff is in this game because it's been a while since I've actually like deep dived into this. Where the fuck are the parachutes? Personal parachute. No, that's not what we need. Happy Pride. Thoughts on the KC streetcar? The KC streetcars. I mean, it's one of the success stories of the Obama era streetcars. It's that the Portland one and whatchamacallit. The Seattle one, arguably successful. And what else? There's one other. But yeah, the KC one and the Portland one are arguably the most successful streetcar systems from the Obama era ones. Where is? Am I stupid? Where is the Obama? It's okay. The devs really did overpromise to the parent company. I mean, they did build a pretty good base game, and they were going to add a lot of cool stuff. But it's hard to follow up this game. Alan, I know just the thing to do, which would make your old computer run like brand new for free. Is it download more RAM? Maybe do that. Where the fuck? Electrical communication science. No. Cargo. Utility. Yeah, okay, there they are. But we're going to put probably a little battery there, actually. And an SAS unit. Where is SAS? There we go. Nope. Where's the small one? There we go. That looks so bad. It's so goofy looking. Kind of looks like a Mercury capsule though. KC Streetcar has higher ridership per mile than any second generation light rail. Yeah, no, it's doing pretty good. Nope, it's better. You can download a better operating system. Yeah, no, I have been considering Linux. I'm still running Windows 7 as I do not like Windows 10. Let's see. Actually, we're going to take we'll leave the reaction control thing up there, but we're going to take that, put that away. Where is our storage? There we go. We can open that. Now in here, our little structural component, and then we will just fuel tanks. The balls. Let's see. Whoop. Did I get? Nope. Didn't get that. There we go. The walls. Windows 7. No, I would switch to Linux. The only reason I haven't switched to Linux is there's a few programs I use that I still am relying on that I need to switch over, find something that's better for Linux. The main thing is I need to get better at using DaVinci Resolve because I think that does work on Linux for whatchamacallit, for actually I need to put this down one and we need to, where is thermal protection? There we are. No, too small. Just right. Then we need staging. Where? Coupling. There we go. Nope. Where's the small one? Not that small. There we go. Now we can put that on. Switching to Linux, adding years on my life, absolutely. Yeah, if I were to switch, I would either use Ubuntu or Mint. Those are my two most familiar ones that I've used in the past. I know there's Debian or Debian. That one's also pretty decent, which I might use. But the two that I would probably consider using the most is Mint and Ubuntu, because those are the ones I've used in the past. Mint is a little light. I don't know if I would use that one specifically, but it is an option. Let's see, we need our solar panel. Right, is this the 1 by, no, it's 2 by 1 by 6. I guess I could put it on the outside. Okay. If you want an optimized version of Debian rolling release, this Pika OS. Well, I actually have the only Debian I've actually used. Let's see if I can get it. Is with these guys. We love our Focus. We love our Raspberry Pis. Which the Debian or Raspbian is just Debian, just a lighter version of it. Or Debian. Have you ever thought of using Arch? No, I'm not that big of a dork. Okay. We need to, let's see, we'll do a fuel tank. So where's my, we need delta V. Oops. Or we should be able to see the delta, or no, I guess that's there. Never mind, close that. Too big. This one has arc, yeah, okay. Joke's on you, all the dorks moved to Nix OS. I have never heard of that one. Say it Lix or Nix? I would say it's better for lesbians standing against military contractors. That's funny. Oh, this not. Is there like a tiny one? No, this got to be a. Is there like a tiny? Is this the smallest one? Oh, it's frustrating. Okay. Maybe a bigger fuel tank then. I wish there was a smaller decoupler, but I guess this is the minimum size. We need a small engine. Where is engines? Where's the little guy? Because one of these has a specific impulse that's actually half decent. Tiny ones, because this one is in vacuum 215. This one's 240. That one's the one I want to avoid because this one has 60. Or no, that's Oh no, wait, that's our no, that's the kilonewtons of thrust. Where is the ISP? Oh, there we go. Okay. That's ISP at VAC is 320, 310, 345. This is the one. If you like Debian and want better NVIDIA support, Pika OS would be your best bet. The Hannah Montana Linux. No, I'm gonna run. What's the religious one the one guy made? All right. I think. Am I back? Am I back? Okay. My computer is definitely fighting me tonight, unfortunately. Let me open back up Studio. Back to webcam. There's chat. Okay. The annoying part about having to log back in every single time is the stream keeps dropping out, and then I need to log back in OBS because it doesn't do stream keys, or at least it doesn't seem to do stream keys anymore to YouTube, which is annoying, but I'll have to figure that out. There's chat. Okay. I love how every time that happens, it's just like tanks viewership, which obviously, yeah, it's a little late on a Sunday. People have work and school tomorrow. But let's pop out. Let me copy the chat and get you guys back on the TV again. That was... Oh yeah, the Temple OS, that was what I was looking for. Okay. There we go. All back and working again. Yeah, I don't know what exactly happened, but it did not like something. Well, let me close that window and we'll keep going. Greetings from Oregon. Hello. We're going to try to load this back up unless I find something else in my library that we could touch for a little bit. Either way, this computer is like frustrating because it's definitely struggling in recent years. What I should do is I have a one of those HDMI to USB converters for recording stuff, and I should just play on a different computer, which I have a gaming laptop that I could hook up, and then play stuff on there, and then just use this as a encoding machine. That would avoid, I think, a lot of the problems. Are you excited for the World Cup? I'm kind of in between. I think the most exciting part will be running into like people from elsewhere in the world that are coming to Philly and experiencing Philly for the first time. That will be the interesting part to me. It's programmed on its own programming language. Holy see, that's very good. Alright, we'll try Kerbal once more. Hopefully the computer doesn't crash. It might not be the computer, but the fact you're running... No, I'm running Windows 10. This is not Windows 7. I do think it's very funny with the World Cup stuff that there's a bunch of secondary cities that for some reason got games. I don't know why Chattanooga or Greensboro, North Carolina got World Cup games. That's kind of weird, or it's kind of goofy that they sent teams to other places that are like smaller like that. I guess they wanted to spread it out more, but like they should have just kept it to big cities, in my opinion. I think that's the one like Especially because a lot of these small places don't have transit, they don't have like things that could support a lot of big crowds, so it's like, why would you do that? Let me get, we're in chat there. Corruption, probably. During Windows 9. Well, we all know what Windows 9 was. They just didn't call it Windows 9. We love Windows 8.1. Thurman, West Virginia World Cup host city when? Yeah. Okay, let's see. Thoughts on Waymo in Philly? I think Waymo's fine. I think that the problems with it are generally the just registrate. Like, there should be a process of registering an anonymous vehicle or autonomous, not anonymous. Like, there should be a license for a vehicle if it's an autonomous. I think that, like, you're gonna get a lot of stupid shit, like, if you don't have better ways to, I guess, categorizing what type of autonomous levels of driving are actually allowed to exist. And especially if a car, like, hits something, yeah, I think you should, like, have the license for a company or car revoked in a way. It's a lot of laws that haven't caught up with it yet. That's my problem with it. Honestly, the cars drive better than most Ubers, so, like, like the whole argument is literally just for, I guess, the whoop. I just accidentally started a game and I didn't mean to in Kerbal, so let me why no Chicago yet? I don't know, actually. I don't know why they picked Philly. I think because Philly, our government is pretty, like, okay with stuff like this. And I also think that Philly is honestly a good testing ground for the opposite of the yin to the yang of something that's like Los Angeles. Because Philly has very narrow streets, very opposite of, like, something like Los Angeles. Stifle innovation. How will Waymo make it funny investor money if they aren't allowed shielded from the consequences of their actions? Yeah. I already solved this police ticket the company that owns the vehicle, title, registration. Yeah, I mean, it kind of works. It's weird because it's like you don't really have people that are causing the problems. So let me switch to, where is game? Window, Kerbal, there we go. Alright, let's try this one more time. Now I can build it pretty quickly. Or we can load up something that I've already built in the past and then modify it for a mission. I forget some of the ones I've built on here, so I do not remember. Some of these are very goofy names. Koi fish. Oh, that's a. Oh yeah, maybe we should try to yeah, let's get out of the VAB and we will go to. Or what are you guys saying? Hold ownership has title to the vehicle. Yeah. Laugh at this system over time because it mentions because it means that companies taking the blunt of lawsuits will start raising rates of self-driving cars. I mean, that's kind of what's going to happen. It's like Uber. It's just going to be like Uber again, where right now the rates are really low because they have investor money, and then they eventually have to start making money. Space plane that goes to space. I forget which one of these is actually decent, because I have built single stage to orbit vehicles a few times and a few space planes. I forget which one of these was actually there you go, Shoal is fuck shit one. I forget which one of these were successful and which one weren't. I need to remember, let's see. Which ones of these were successful and which weren't? Because there's some goofy ones in here. Let's see what this one was. Okay. This is a chungus of a plane. All right. What did I have? Actions. Custom. What is custom 1 bound to? Toggle engine. Custom 2, toggle... What the fuck? Oh, those. Why are those... Reliant... Okay. Because either the... Okay. Those are just... Why do I not have nukes on this? Why do I have these guys? That seems underpowered. Because, yeah, let me replace these with... Or no, go back to build. These seem underpowered. Why would I put those on? I put the... Come on. Oh my god, please snap. Please snap on. Thank you. Come on. Why are you not snapping on? Oh my god. Just snap on. Why are you... Whatever. Thoughts on Seattle using low floor light rail? I mean, yeah, it should have been a heavy rail metro originally. I'm doing the video on that currently. But that's a whole thing. Do these toggle? No, they just turn off. I forget action group. Action group 1 toggles intake, toggles engine. Action group. Okay. DC Subber, more supportive of TOD. SB79, sporting transit harder. Every emo Matterboard called them out. I have no idea. I should look more into that because I don't know the specific specificities of that specific instance. But I know some of the DC suburbs are really problematic when it comes to that kind of stuff. Thoughts in Seattle using low... I mean, that's going to be part of the whole sound transit stuff. But here, we'll try doing this guy. Forget if this space plane worked. I think this one did in the past. Oh, are we out of M&Ms? Oh no. Boing, boing, boing. Turn down my... do you have a minute to talk about Lawrence regions? Will you ever do a video, so in love with cars and feel like urban is completely... Yes, that's one of the next videos I'm working on. I've been talking about that. Let's see. Alright, here we go. Please steer straight, thank you. Please. Lethargic. Alright, we're just gonna pull up. This thing has zero rudder authority. Come on. There we go. There's gear. Alan Cord banner, nice Wi-Fi. Yes. That is me and my roommate's Wi-Fi. Let's climb and get into the upper atmosphere so we can actually accelerate. Hopefully frequencies to minimize effects on low floor. Thoughts on Rio Grande Plan? Oh, that's on me. That's a whole nother video that I've been meaning to do for a very long time. Actually, it was supposed to be originally, that video was supposed to be part of another video that was talking about the Alameda Trench corridor, whatever, in LA and Long Beach, because that's what Wendover did a video on. I was very annoyed with. So at some point, I need to do that covering both. Screen's not on. I feel like that's, there you go. Yeah, Curvo S. Use that instead. I get a view of these guys. Oops. There we go. So, for those that don't know what Kerbal Space Program is, it's basically like a physics simulator for rockets, airplanes, etc., etc. And one of the things you can do in this game is you can build space planes, and that's essentially what I'm doing here. And we're gonna actually pitch down a little bit so we gain some speed now that we're higher in the atmosphere. And space planes are cool because you can get the. Don't forget. No, I did get their super chat. I talked about it. I just don't know much about the suburbs of DC stuff, other than like I do need to cover the. I do need to cover the Purple Line when that opens next year, probably. I'm assuming it's gonna open next year. That's one of those kind of little question marks, sort of. It's such a fat thing, space plane. Does it have a? Alright, that should hopefully help, moving the desktop audio slider down. I didn't realize that was drowning me out. Alright, now we pitch up. Compare Portland's light rail to Seattle's. Yeah, I mean, they're kind of different in function, both of them. So it's a little difficult to compare directly, in my opinion, both of them, but... Ooh, that is not good. No. Ooh. Getting flameouts on the engines, which is not good. Did you not do that? Oh boy. Alright, maybe this one wasn't a good space plane. Let's throttle down, actually. If I could get out of that spin, that would be great. Come on. Come on. This might have been one of my early space planes that wasn't as good, because it seems like it wasn't getting up to speed as much either. A little worried about... Pride flag in the back here. When you make videos, type of videos you need to watch. What? Types of people you need to watch them. We'll try to see. I mean, I don't like if someone gets annoyed with that shit. They're a little baby, bitch, baby. So like, I don't really understand when someone's like annoyed with that shit. It's kind of stupid. Which is funny because like conservatives think they're really tough and everything, but then they're little bitch babies about stuff, and I never get that. I don't understand. All right, can we pull out of this dive? Maybe. Please. Can we pull out of the dive? Thank you. Or are we just gonna crash? Yeah, no, like it just annoys me that that's even like an issue to some people. It's really goofy. Oh no, I know. This is like I said. I just picked this space plane specifically because I haven't. Oh, we're not gonna be able to pull out of this, are we? Let's revert to hangar. Where is the Discord banner even taken? That's me and my roommate's like hallway, essentially. Let's see, what space plane do I have in here that's actually half decent? One of these was half decent. Was it the koi fish one, or was it the you guys need to iron the flag. No, that's homophobic. All people. Oh, it's missing. What are those? Just drop tanks? What are these? Oh, they are drop tanks. That's funny. Okay. Why don't those have nose cones on them? I feel like that would help a lot. If I can even put a nose cone on it. Hello? If it's not gonna even do that, fine. So I have an action group on this one. No, why don't I have an action group? Do I not have... I guess we're gonna do an action group then. Toggle engine. Toggle engine. Oh, are these individual? Oh, that's annoying. Toggle. No, not gimbal. So for those that don't know what I'm doing, these are... Okay, did we get everything? If I go out of here and I go back into action group. Alright, so we have those. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's all of them. You guys know, yeah, so those who don't know what I'm doing, these engines specifically on the back, these are called Rapier ones, which are based off of, or supposed to be based off of the Sabre engine, which is a kind of real thing, where you're supposed to be able to switch from air breathing mode or air breathing jet engine mode to a rocket engine specifically. Because when you get high enough in the atmosphere, that's when you run out of oxygen, so you want to be able to switch over to it. So we'll try this one. I think this one did work, or this was one of the earlier space planes that I might have had, because a lot of the later space planes that I built were a lot smaller. Um, or we'll try to build one otherwise if this one doesn't work. Boing, boing. Okay. Because what is this? Does this one have anything? Oh, it has a little, like, just a fuel tank? Yeah. Because if I figured if this one had a docking adapter on it, one of the space planes they had a docking adapter in it for the space station I built. What is your opinion of somewhere market-oriented, profit-seeking transit planning for public good? It's hard. It's hard to do it correctly. That's the tough thing. So these better be in air-breathing mode. Yes, they are. Also, wait, what is my action group for, or can I not check it in this menu? I guess it's just hitting number 1, resume flight. Come on, lift off. Please. Please lift off. Thank you. All right. Juicy. I have a more juicy super tip. I want to wait until you're done with the game. Oh no, I'm watching because this game is kind of slow in certain times. Because it will be very action oriented sometimes like this, but then it does slow down a lot. All right, go on, pitch up. I just want to thank you for your videos. Train Love of Honor. Watch a bunch of the longer ones last year, and he was. Oh, sorry to hear about that, but glad that you enjoyed the videos and stuff. Yeah, I need to. Some of the I guess more popular, famous videos on the channel are the longer ones, and I forget that because oftentimes I don't like the longer ones because I feel like they drag too much. Oops. Oh, that's empty, so we can drop those. Drop those too. Now we can really pick up speed because we don't have the drag. And also pitch over because we want to, no. We will probably need to switch over to rocket engine in a sec. Oh, that is tough to look at. All right, 1. Why did those shut down? 1. One where you're on the podcast explaining histories to other people that would make a production. Urbanism tourism in the UK. I mean, a lot of it I would just base on transit stuff essentially. These are still in air breathing mode, but they're dying. We'll just light these up. Because the action group isn't working correctly, so... Oh, toggle mode. We'll just shut down these. Oh. Let's leave those off, actually. Oh, that's not good. Oh. That's not good. Please face prograde. Why? There we go. Kind of. Well, we're gonna revert back to spaceplane hangar. All right, let me look at chat. Tourism in UK. Yes, I'm aware of Milton Keyes. I don't know because it depends what you're looking for. Um, I don't know too much specifically about the UK, but I can have some suggestions about certain spots that would be cool. Honestly, anything that's like an older city that's based around canals is pretty cool in the UK. I That's the one thing that's not here in the US is the canal system that the UK has. Were you on one podcast explaining histories to other people? That would make it lower. Yeah, I need to do a podcast. I've been talking about that for a while. Thoughts on Farragating? I know Bart saw a lot of reductions in Patreon related maintenance. I know Farragates are fine. I think that until America has, or let's just build a space plane. Let's build a new one. Until America, a lot of the problems of the country, meaning that like our healthcare system, our housing, et cetera, the externalities of those problems get put on transit, especially if the fare gates and stuff don't work correctly. And I think that's unfair when we're trying to improve one thing that the other thing gets sabotaged. And so, well, I think that fare gates are fine as long and that kind of enforcement is fine as long as there is programs that they whatchamacallit, that there's programs that are offered by the transit agency that do benefit low income riders that can either ride for free or heavily subsidized. Because that is the main problem, is that we have so many other issues in the United States that are not addressed first that should be, that aren't, and that we need to fix. And then transit gets essentially the problems that are put onto it instead. Let's see, go back to. Oh no, wait, that's monopropellant. We don't want that. Spawn liquid fuel. And then these suck if I remember correctly. Yeah, VAC is 290, which is not good. Whoops. I know WMATA is replacing their Farragates a while ago with newer ones. Yes, they are working on that. Where is the... I guess we'll do that guy. This has, yeah, fuel oxidizer, and then we'll do... VAC on this is 340. VAC is 310, 320, 45. I guess we'll do the Aerospike. And then wings. Not the big one. We want not the big delta. Where's the small delta? Yes, that's what we want. And then the piece that is not that guy. This guy. Let's see. Yes, Orca is a pretty good low-income program improving the environment inside the system. It's worth the Farragates. I guess I have skewed perspective from being a fair ambassador, though. Or Orca is pretty long. The system would be worth the gates. That's interesting. So from a fair ambassador standpoint, you think the gates are worth it? Basically, every transit employee I've ever talked to agrees that Farragates, or at least Farragates done well, improve systems. So it's kind of always interesting to see that. Let's see, we need to... Where is the tool? There it is. I guess I don't want to snap. Okay. We want liquid fuel. Oh no, wait, there is a, actually I should grab, so we'll put those here, and I should grab in aerodynamics, there should be a intercooler. No, where's the inner? It's somewhere in here. Is it in fuel tanks? No, there is definitely an intercooler for engines. I thought it was in aerodynamics, unless I missed it. Supersonic intake. That's, there it is, free cooler. One of my pet peeves about the new Faragates on BART is that they can occasionally take a while to open. Yeah, the SEPTA ones are kind of like that, the new ones that we're getting. Ours aren't as heavy duty as the BART ones. I wish they were, but they're fine for now. Where is, okay, jet engines, we need, where's like the normal, I guess this is the normal ramjet one. I guess it's either this one or this one. I guess this is the more normal-ish one to do. Just me make that a bit shorter. Yeah, that's better. Picking up my own Uber Eats because delivering is to, yeah, that's what I mean. Every time I use those programs, most of the time I just order from someplace nearby and then go walk and pick it up because that's the more reasonable thing to do. I think that's the more normal-ish way to use those. Whoops, more normal-ish way to use those apps. Where is where's like the normal Sky? No. Sky? No. It's like one that's slightly bigger. There it is. It's like here? Yeah, that's about it. I don't know, wait, we want to move further back a little bit. Ooh. Yeah, that's about it. Aren't Philly skates plastic? They're like acrylic, but they're like really heavy acrylic. They're probably like half an inch of acrylic. Which, if you can break half an inch of acrylic, you're pretty strong. um, let's see. Whereas like big, oh, no, those are too big. No, those would go better here, I guess. Uh, I guess yeah, do pitch. These will not do y'all or roll. No, that's not what we're. Oh God, where is the one that's like? I guess we'll do the smaller one. No, that's too big. Oh, why did that chat crash? What? Open Chrome. Why did this one crash? But the oh, did Kerbal Space Program crash? Hello. I love this computer. Okay. Well, I might have to at least wrap up Kerbal because that's obviously not going to be. It's not playing nice. Um, Viewer activity. Whoops. I meant to get back to that. Okay. Pop out chat. Okay. Lots of photos of ADA gates. UP is doing the big boy to push merger. I think they're doing it because of the 250th. And because they've always kind of wanted to bring it to the East Coast, but I think that this is a good excuse to put it on NS and bring it all the way to Philly. So there's a lot of reasons to do it. Excuse me. I honestly think a large part of I was too loud. I honestly think a large part of my computer problems are the fact that I am using a first generation Ryzen and first gen what's it called motherboard for Ryzen, and I think that that has always been the issue. So when you get back to, let's see, please let's merge Loco. That's funny. Alan, ever heard of another YouTuber by the name of Jack? Oh gosh, how would I even pronounce that? Koshirella? I don't know. I swear he looks like he could be a younger brother, and his face and voice is almost similar to yours. I'll have to let me look him up. Oops, I get that chat. Yeah, I think next time I stream, I'm gonna have a oops, I hate that it does that. Next time I stream, I think he's on Twitter. What does he do? Oh, he's a political streamer? Oh, is this the guy that was on he was on the debate thing? Yeah, I think this guy was on the debate thing. I'm just looking at his channel. This is the type of content I do not like. Here, let me show y'all what I'm seeing. Browser? No. Why is this? Why is this not working? Chrome. Yeah, this is oop. Can I make? Why is it boxed in like that? Anyway, that's the sort of YouTube content that I'm seeing, which is fine. It's not my cup of tea. It does really well. Like, how many fucking videos you put out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 in one day. Good lord. And they get a lot of, every single one of them gets a lot of views. Like, good lord. This is like Kyle Kalinske type. I'm like, that's fine. I think that's like, huh. I do remember first generation Ryzen having a lot of issues. Dang, it's an old processor. Yeah, yeah. This is from 2017, late 2017. Um, yeah, this is like he's left wing, so it's fine. But it's definitely not my cup of tea. Because like, if I did this shit, I would go insane. If I had to talk about this dumb fuck all day, like Trump, if I had to talk about him like make 6 videos a day, every single day talking about him, oh my god. Like, um, I get like he is a 1.5 million and like probably makes a shit ton of money off of this, but good fucking lord, I would go insane if I had to do that. Um, China will collapse soon. Videos. Yeah, the Discord has a very good React exclamation point command to that. Yeah, like this that kind of content's fine. He looks like I think I've seen his stuff before. I don't think not his channel specifically, but I've definitely run into his stuff elsewhere. Um, I think even hardware increases third gen available at relatively cheap prices. Yeah, if I were to get new hardware, I don't know if I'd even get like modern stuff because like oh my god, stuff is so expensive now because of all the AI bullshit. I also have like other computers that are like sitting behind my desk here that are like older. And what I said that I could do, because I have a decent laptop that's like a gaming laptop, is I could literally run that and then run an HDMI into this computer and then just use this computer as the encoding streaming computer and use the other one as the gaming. Um, I just want to be able to run SolidWorks. I think hardware. I'd rather work in retail, run a political farm. This is yeah. This I don't know. It's the coolest things that I've found with doing this kind of stuff is that you can get a lot of connections. And the hardest part that I find is that even though you have a shit ton of connections and there's a ton of people that will listen to you, there's still a lot of what would I say? There's still a lot of dissonance in larger communities that then deal with you. Like even though I'm a very, I guess, influential voice in I think railroading and urban planning and stuff like that, the normal experts still won't take you seriously. Which I always think is quite interesting. Even though, like, some of us, and especially, like, obviously not just Bikes, even though I don't necessarily agree with him, you have to, like, admit that he has a lot of influence. And a lot of the older urban planners and influential people in the community still don't truly, I guess, appreciate what he does as much because they just don't that's not their type of thing. I think they're a little jealous, and I've run into that. I think with older generation people, it's also if I want to get a job, and this is like I'm using a lot of what I've built up on a resume. A lot of this just doesn't count to a lot of the older generations because they just don't see this as like relevant to a lot of things, which is always interesting to me. Um, which I should say is also interesting to me because there's a possibility I might be moving to DC next year, and if I'm moving to DC, it's more expensive, so I might look for a job down there, which would be interesting. So if y'all have leads, maybe I would take you up on that. Let's see. Alan, your thoughts on NJT updates, merger with Turnpike? Actually, yes, I have a fun one. The New Jersey governor's office actually reached out to me, so I might do a video at some point with NJT, and then also just happen to show up at the governor's office, which you guys might find fun. Let's see. Speaking of Jack, I'm going to send you a hilarious screenshot to your DMs that was funny to me. Okay. Yeah, no, it's interesting that like I've done a lot of political stuff, so there is some people in the political sphere that have interacted with my stuff. Obviously, Hassan and Vosh, for better or for worse, have interacted with my stuff. Why is my webpage? I swear anything that's like connected to Chrome just doesn't work well. Let's see. I'm gonna try applying for a field right up my alley in public administration, Jersey City, real soon. So if I can do that, I'm probably gonna nice career in transit-oriented policymaking. That's cool. Probably on your Instagram or Discord. Well, I need to open up Discord because I closed that. What are people? Fisher U.S. transportation plan. Yeah, no, I wish at some point. It's interesting because I do know many people in the industry that do listen to me and some of the other creators, and so I know we have influence in weird and interesting ways, I would say. And it's also like I have been able to I guess talk to a lot of people that are higher up at Amtrak and stuff like that that are actually it's weird. It's weird how much people watch our stuff and actually absorb and take it. I will say that the Amtrak single level order stuff, I wouldn't say my video influenced them. I would say it was probably the final nail in the coffin of them making that decision. But I would say that it did influence that a little bit. It was basically the end thing that finally made them decide that they would do it. And I kind of got told that directly to my face when I was meeting with some of them one time. But I do have some Amtrak stuff that I do need to work on and get out at some point. Oh my god, Chrome is just acting up tonight. It is not playing whatever. I'll probably go about like 10-15 more minutes and then finish up the stream, but let's answer some of your questions before then. Helium and good browsers into AI. Well, I'll probably just run Firefox at some point because I just need something that has all the plugins that I usually use. Railway electrification video. I am working on it just slowly in the background. That's a lot of research and history stuff, and I also need to work with that one artist that I've been working with. His name is Scandinavian 101. Firefox sucks and is a lot slower than Chrome. I mean, not many good choices nowadays, it seems. Yeah, so the electrification stuff I am working on, honestly, this is probably the most, I would say, like, out of the three that I've done so far, this is going to be the most heavy research one, because the earlier ones research was more like you just need to find the old shit and just talk about the old shit. This one is about a lot of the 1970s proposals for electrification, and which is such a broad topic and barely talked about, barely studied, because like a lot of the people from that era are still alive and they didn't give a shit in that era about it, and so they never gave a shit about saving or preserving a lot of that stuff. So I need to dig up a lot of stuff related to electrification in the 70s and 80s. Versus the older stuff, which everyone fawns about because it was like the Pennsylvania Railroad, the Milwaukee, et cetera, et cetera. Saw a video while talking about how to make an ADA compliant bi-level train set included stuff like transition car between single. There's ways to do it. It just is not easy. The way to do it is to make the first level, the lower level, the level that connects throughout the train, and then make the upper level the one that's optional, essentially. It's not easy to do, mainly because the trucks of the car are biting into the first level, and that's why superliners are the way they are, is that the first level is at the same level, if not between the trucks. So you can't really extend the first level too far out because it just runs into the trucks anyway. What's your dream Secretary of Transportation guy if you were president? Probably Roz. Actually, no, he'd be better for FRA. Specifically for, I guess, head of DOT. I'd have to think about, but Roz would be a good FRA head. Best way. DC Val know what you should suck. Thoughts on bus nationalization? Actually, I've been meaning to do a video with Miles about that and how Greyhound and all the other stuff. That is on my back burner of stuff that I've been meaning to do. Justin Rosniak, I'm referring to. He's the one guy in the Well, There's Your Problem podcast. VGN's electrification is interesting. Saw an old catenary pair in Roanoke. Yes, it's like frustrating that stuff used to exist and that doesn't now. And it's like painful. It's painful to see so much of the infrastructure that used to hold electrification that doesn't anymore. What is the most important line between two cities? It needs to be brought back. Newark, Scranton. Okay, well, let's do one where... Here, we'll pull up a map. Oh, why does it keep doing that? Okay. Oh no, there's so many videos. I have a list of videos I've been meaning to make, and the problem is that like I wish that I gave less of a shit about production and like I don't know, caring about things, because like there's so many people that make I don't know, shitty videos. Let's just do this. All right. Why is it doing that? Why is there a filter on that's like, hold on. No, turn that, get rid of that. Thank you. It's cropping it for some reason. Oh, come on. Please scale correctly. Or not. Why is this? Whatever. I guess black bar at the bottom. Anyway, so if we're gonna, I guess, talk about maybe like an Amtrak route that doesn't currently exist that probably should. I've never experienced Greyhound, so I don't know what they're like. They're not good, but they're needed. That's essentially what Greyhound is like. I don't know, because like I obviously know most about the Northeast. That's just my bread and butter of type things. But like there's a lot of city pairs that there just should be more service or service in general between. I think if I were to choose one that's like the most obvious, that's like duh, is like Atlanta to Savannah. Like why is this not a thing? Like probably one of your most important corridors for especially like growing populations. Why is there not something between Savannah and Atlanta? That's such an easy one. Obviously Texas, like there should, even if you're building high-speed rail, there should just be more between the three large cities here: San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth. Like like there's so many just stupid things that just should exist that like don't. Atlanta to Orlando. I mean, you could kind of do that, but the Savannah one is a little bit out of the way if you're going to Atlanta or Orlando. You'd have to come here and then go down. Nashville. Yeah, I mean, Nashville, any of the Tennessee cities, Chattanooga. How can you have a fucking city named like a famous train song named after your city and it has zero trains? Um, Nashville, pretty obvious, and it's like, or we could go because like it really sucks that in Tennessee the only service is basically on this side here, and that like you Nashville and any of the larger cities just nothing. Knoxville, same thing. Um, Grand Rapids to Lansing. Yeah, I mean Michigan in general is just. I was actually talking to someone recently, which I might work with the group that's the Michigan Rail people because they want something that would go up to Traverse City and do some of the other stuff. There's one guy that's like I've been talking to that's here. If we go back to like because Michigan's interesting. If you ever look at Michigan, you'll notice that like a lot of the class ones are all down here, and then all this shit up here is either a class three, class two, and then some of this is owned by the state. Like if you, what is this? Yeah, Great Lakes Central. That's essentially like kind of state run, or at least the track is leased to them. State owns all of that. Okay. So essentially, yeah, there's also a lot of track missing here, and it's would be like, so for example, a really good train that I like Chicago, then come up to like Grand Rapids, and then keep going up to Traverse City without going to Detroit. But you would have to, if you go, you would have to get a lot of this trackage back, like probably this section here and then over to here. You need that L shape back. Like currently, that does not exist. Um, so you need that back. But there's a lot of options. Um, the main thing is that it's really cool that Amtrak does own this entire thing. I think ironically, it's out of all of the lines that they could own that goes between Detroit and like Michigan City, Kalamazoo, they own the squiggliest one, which is very goofy to me. It's very goofy that look at this. This is the one that they own. See all these curves and shit? And then look at all the other ones that they could have owned. Look at how straight some of these other ones are. And no, they own the squiggly one. But even with the squiggles, they're able to get it up to a pretty decently high speed. Because if we go to Open Railway, this is the one that is upgraded to 110. So certain sections of it, you can see like here, there's 100 miles an hour. And it has to slow down for the curves and going through towns and stuff, which is like frustrating because it's like it's a good line, but it should be able to go faster in certain sections, but it's too squiggly. Um, but for the most part, that's essentially. I think Michigan and Pennsylvania are good examples of things that are corridors that other people should copy. Um, I think in Illinois, they're good examples of like corridors that other people should just do. Michigan's a great example of just turning something into a trunk and then basing all the stuff off of the trunk. Um, uh, Illinois is a great example of taking a line and doing the same thing with this guy, just making it really fast or a 110. And then Pennsylvania is the other great example with the Keystone, where at least between Philly and Harrisburg, that's entirely electrified. It's the only other corridor off the Northeast corridor that is electrified. Um, it should be upgraded between Jackson and Dearborn to 110 this year, I believe, which is the last section. That's good. Do you think it's better to use Amtrak's limited resource to establish a new route or increase frequency on existing routes? I think both are good. That's the problem is you have to pick and choose. If they had enough money, they wouldn't have to pick and choose. Also, something fucking happened to the corridor today. Everything is red. That's why. Why is everything late? I guess, delayed at Washington for some reason. Wait, that a different. Due to rail congestion. Well, that doesn't really tell the story. Huh. Oh, late cruise? I don't know. Interesting. I wonder why these are all maintenance. Huh. Just not a good day, I guess, on the corridor. Temporary signal outage at Bush River Bridge? Oh? Where is that? Bridge. Where is that? Havre County, Maryland. Where? Oh, is that at the Gunpowder Bridge? Or no, Bush River. That's the one next to Gunpowder. Oh my god, so this little dinky fucking thing didn't open or wasn't closing correctly because some dumbass in a sailboat wanted to go through, and then that's the reason why the whole corridor is screwed up. Sure. That's funny. Amtrak might get hit hard though if this administration gets their way with breaking up the company. I don't. Um, let's see. I think under current, I'm spinning on current is best option. Yeah. Storms rolled in. Oh yeah, it was probably that. Amtrak might get hit hard with current admin to get their way, breaking up the company into a private thing. Yeah, that's the. I don't think the breakup thing is going to happen. I think they got scared enough to not do it. And honestly, if it's the current structure exists until the end of the year to the midterms, I think that nothing won't. A barge hit the bridge. Oh no, that's goofy. Well, that's the reason. Is there anything even past that for like, I guess barge operations? I guess there is. I guess there's some stuff. Yeah, probably up here, I would guess. Huh. But yeah, the signal failure at Stanford. Okay, well, I guess there's multiple problems today. Amtrak really needs to expand west in the Midwest and take over. Yes. I mean, it's just a lot of it is just getting stuff pushed through. I think we're at a point though when there's a lot of people supporting stuff now that weren't supporting this in the past, and I think that it's just a matter of time before a lot of this stuff gets done. Can you give Sean Duffy letter grade his policies concerning rail? I mean, that would be an interesting video comparing him to PD Boy, Buttigieg, because I think that would be an interesting video comparing both admins and how they treat stuff, and then like I don't know. I do know that they haven't seen my videos, but I do know that some higher government people have seen some of the transit videos online. So we do have some effect on them. Very small, insignificant effect, but we do affect their thinking a bit. Barge hitter bridge flashbacks to Bayou, yeah. Kind of like how nationalized rail in the EU works. I like aspects of it. I don't like how the EU has implemented a lot of it. I think a lot of it introduces unnecessary neoliberalization in certain places and aspects. Otherwise, I agree. Yeah, let me get or switch back to, there we go. How would you nationalize rail in America then? I would probably do something similar. So the only way you're ever probably going to get stuff nationalized here is if you compare it to another currently nationalized thing in the US. And the other only few nationalized things that you have examples of is the post office is one, and the highway system is the other. So if you convince people to somehow make a combination of the two for railroads, I think that's the way to go. And so the way you do that is essentially, what is it? The highways are essentially government owned, and you basically convince people that, okay, we should do that with rail. All the rail and infrastructure is government owned, and then anyone can use it, and in certain aspects pay a fee. And then there is, like the postal service, there is a a carrier, a main government carrier that takes a lot of the contracts that other people necessarily wouldn't take because it wouldn't be profitable. So an open access plan is probably one of the better ways you could do it, is the best way to describe it, but there's more nuance to that than just that. If I had my way, it would be the big railroad. There would be one giant railroad that did both passenger and freight ops, and it would own and operate the infrastructure. It would do everything else. Class 3s would probably still exist. Class 2s maybe, but there would be one big railroad, and it would run the entire country. That would be the way to go. That would be the best, but I don't think that's the most likely, I guess is the best way to say it. So would you bring back Conrail? Yeah, I mean, it'd probably have to be called something else, but like Conrail wasn't perfect either. There was a lot of problems with Conrail, but for nationalized railroad wise in the US, I think it was one of the better implementations of the two. I think the original nationalization during World War One, I think is not relevant to nowadays as much as people think it is. It is not. Just the way that it happened and the way that they implemented it, I don't think you could do again. No, you did a video on how open access is not good. I would agree. Yes, open access has a lot of issues. I think aspects of open access is okay, but I think that the way that a lot of the Euros have done it is very bad, especially the Germans. I unironically think that France, being as protectionist as they are, have actually saved themselves from a lot of the problems that the Germans have run into when it comes to open access things with rail operators. Also, for your second, you put a model Conrail on your shelf for people to see. Yes, I will do that. There's also some these foam things here and here and here behind everything are going to be replaced by some posters and some other stuff. I also have, actually, let me grab the things real quick because I have a few things that I guess I could show that will end up somewhere in here that will be sort of integral to the set. Yeah, some of the things back here will change, and then there will be posters and stuff. Let me get to these extra questions and we'll wrap things up in a little bit. But yeah, let me grab these things I want to show you guys that will integrate into stuff. So some of the things I've been doing recently is when it comes to digital production and stuff like that, obviously we have the nice camera that you guys are looking through currently, which is my main camera that a lot of stuff gets shot with. But I also think that with a lot of the AI content and blah, 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 and everything going super digital, I think one of the fun things to do is honestly use older equipment, because older equipment gives you a very distinctive look over certain people. So I think that honestly, a lot of my equipment, it's going to go a little bit more old school for certain things. And so we might have some more analog equipment that's integrated to some of the cameras and sets and stuff that we're able to use while I'm streaming and also in videos. So we have that Handycam, and then also we have fun stuff like this guy, which is a editing board essentially for analog stuff, which is kind of fun. And so this will probably sit somewhere over here, and I can use and integrate in some of the stuff that we'll do for streams, because you can do some fun effects on it and different things, which are kind of fun to play with. There's a bunch of other stuff that I think I'm going to be messing with. Like obviously the TV is back here, which you now see. That's a nice little PMV or professional video monitor that I found from a friend. But there's some other CRT stuff that in similar tech that we might integrate into either streams and videos that will be fun. So there's those. And then we have, so friend of mine actually moved out of the neighborhood from here in Philly up to New York. He actually works for Amtrak, but he's super into trains and old stuff. And so gave me a few things before he left because he was just like, I have too many things and whatever. So we do have a few things I'll be integrating into the set, which is kind of fun, that I need to get framed and put in the back. Do that one. And then... can you please run 60 FPS for streams and videos quality? Yeah, I've yet to change it. So there's that one, and then the other one he gave me is more relevant, I think, to the channel or what we were talking about. But yeah, so we have a few fun ones that I'll be putting up in the back behind everything. But I do have a lot of like memorabilia generally that is put in around my I guess house and stuff. It's hanging elsewhere, but I guess more of it will go eventually back here. Obviously some of the hats like the Chessie system and the Bud one down below are in shot, but more stuff will at some point. Let me read through the chat. Do you think Septo will award a contract for the Silverliner 6 this year? Or maybe. I've heard that there is one manufacturer that's probably disqualified from being chosen. Or at least that's the rumor I've heard. But there's some other ones that they are really interested in. Have you considered... No, it's not CRRC. It's one that's actually in the US currently still. Have you considered doing some videos geared toward rail preservation? Yes, actually, I've been working with Queenslink, which very relevant video this month. Okay. Otherwise, yeah, not to, let's see. How's Glenda doing? Glenda is not up here at the moment. She's probably sleeping on my bed downstairs. What's wrong with open access? Italian open access, and it's really good. It provides competition. It does, but also at the same time, it can make problems happen and make sort of the national policy focus on the wrong thing. So a good example, or the worst example of this, is probably Deutsche Bahn. Deutsche Bahn, the open access and neoliberalization of the, I guess, whole system has made the Germans focus less on improving large things and just letting the free market take care of some of the problems. And that has caused issues with the entire, I guess, system, including just Deutsche Bahn just being underfunded and mismanaged at the moment. And anyone that's in Germany or interacts with Deutsche Bahn knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, open access works. Yes, exactly. When you have excess capacity, which I would say probably 70% of rail lines that already have passenger service are not or don't have excess capacity. I just want to bring back the creative of what American used to have with Bud cars. Yes. Well, it's whole, again, another video topic that I've had for a while is just talking about domestic rail manufacturers and how we need them again. Same with Britain. Britain needs domestic rail manufacturers again. I don't think many rail lines have excess capacity. Yeah. New Bud cars would be amazing. We just need better DMUs here in the US, but not like Stadler ones. Stadler ones are good, but those aren't the type of DMUs I think we need. We need more like rail car DMUs, like specifically. Slab of concrete floor, it makes a world of difference in ride quality. Yeah, it depends. It depends. When you start going too fast in a heavyweight, then it's negative. Italio provides better service than Trenitalia. I can't verify or argue that much, but I know they do different things, essentially. And Italy is a very different animal when it comes to their system than Germany or France or some of the other big Italian or European countries. I'll take a few more questions and comments, and I think we'll probably wrap it up for tonight. The fact you can find studies from 2010s still seriously considering RDCs is saying something. Yes. No, we do need an official actually replacement for an RDC. Never really got one. I like open access because it makes prices lower. It can also lead to just other problems that even though the prices would be lower, the service is worse. So that's the downside of it. Also, Justin, let me look at the. Oh, that's funny. Justin was showing me the. There's a screenshot of my stuff next to the other YouTuber. Colorado Railcar. Oh, that's a whole story. Colorado Railcar. That is worth a short documentary at some point, just talking about that whole company in general. There was a lot of stupid shit that happened with that company. I think they would have survived through the recession if it wasn't for a lot of the stupid shit they did. Duffy video would do well in national audience. Yeah, I agree. I volunteer at a heritage railroad that uses Colorado Railcar DMUs. There's not many that have those. What heritage railroad has those? Because the only one, like the Alaska Railroad doesn't count. Who has Colorado? The Grand Canyon Railroad? I don't know who. Florida ones. Thoughts on Honolulu Skyline Rail projects? Thing has been outrageously expensive. It's fine. It'll get built. It's just like it's expensive to build stuff on an island. It's expensive to build your first rail project when you've never built one before. So there's issues with it. I agree, but I also think it's the best thing that they can build and have. And I also think that like it's so frustrating talking about transit in the US because the second the transit is like slightly slow to be built or slightly over budget, immediately gets articles, so many articles. But the second like a highway project is over budget or is behind schedule or something, there's never an article. Never hear anything about it. Oh my God, there's this like interchange in Jersey that's been under construction since 2008. The interchange between 295 and 42. That thing has been under construction since 2008. It's still going. And it got screwed up once. There was like maybe one article about that one collapse or something like that, but it was just like you never hear anything about it. If that was the same thing as like a train project, oh, you'd never hear the fucking end of it. But it's like stuff like that. It's just the highway projects that get away with it because no one ever talks about it. I think the Colorado Railcar DMUs are in Indiana at above mentioned Taurus Railroad. Huh. Why is Austin's light rail so ungodly expensive? The one they're building or the one that currently exists? It's like a DMU. We didn't want Interstate H3 either, but the military wanted it, so they got it built. Yeah, that's definitely not the. Hawaii is such an interesting. I need to go to Hawaii at some point, and just I'm going to be the one person that goes to Hawaii that's there to ride the train and the buses, and not there for specifically the beaches. I will actually be probably going to Puerto Rico this summer. So if we have any ideas for videos for Puerto Rico, I'm still kind of writing up some stuff here and there to do. Obviously, Train Urbano, I will ride and probably make something about when I'm there. But I'll be in San Juan, so I won't be too far from anything. Are you visiting Big Boy? Yes. Either next weekend when it's in the Poconos, or obviously it'll be coming here to Philly. Check out Honolulu's transit company. Hit me up. All right. And then North Spokane Freeway under construction since 2001. It's only 10 miles long and it won't be finished until 2030. Good lord. Australian suburban rail thoughts. Could it work in U.S. cities? Australia is actually a country in the Anglosphere that no one talks enough about, in my opinion, when it comes to rail. I think Australia is very Canada coded in the fact that they can build very good transit systems for their metro areas and cities, but they cannot build good intercity rail. And the only good intercity rail that actually exists is that goofy what's it called? The V line? No, not the what's the narrow gauge one? The narrow gauge one that's like, is it the Brisbane to like it's with the tilting train narrow gauge one. That's such a goofy train. No, not the XPT. And the XPT is the one that runs between Melbourne and Sydney. And that's also a weird combination of intercity 125s and Bud cars, which is interesting. Bringing my drone to faraway hazards, yeah. Spokane. Yeah, it's kind of like here in Pennsylvania how if you say Lancaster, that's the California city. Lancaster is the Pennsylvania one. The Gone, yeah. The Gone is cool, but that's a cruise ship. That's a land cruise ship. Similar to the Canadian, which is also a land cruise ship. Australians are roughnecks of the UK, Canada, UK. Yeah, no, Canadian rail, or I'm not Canadian. Australian railroads are a weird amalgamation of things. You look up an average Australian train, it is the weirdest looking thing you've ever seen because it's an amalgamation of like so many different things. In Victoria, there's V-Line. Okay. Talk about how people butcher pronunciations. I can throw you some fun Hawaiian words. Yeah. There's definitely a bunch of Northeast and around Philly stuff that people definitely butcher, mainly because the accents around here are so fucked up. There's so many tiny regional Philly accents here that's just so fucked up. And it's like everyone fights over pronunciation. The tilting train only exists because they electrify the railway for freight, so they might as well run a passenger train. Yes. That's a cool train at some point. I would love to ride. Anything that connects to Brisbane seems to be really cool. And Melbourne, obviously, and want to get there eventually. Sydney, same. Those are the two biggest cities. But like Brisbane, in my opinion, is the most interesting Australian city, smaller-ish Australian city that has a lot of stuff that's just unique. There's the Schuylkill River, yes. Yeah, no, that honestly, Australia is fully automated mile-long freight trains. Yeah, but they're also in the middle of nowhere. Those iron ore trains, truly the middle of nowhere, like even more middle of nowhere than the U.S. Speaking of like freight-only tracks that are isolated by themselves, there is one railroad I want to try to get to in the next few years before it disappears, the Deseret Railway, because it will probably not be running in 5 to 6 years, I'm guessing, because they will probably stop coal production at some point. And I want to go see the E60s, see the last E60s in operation. Kind of asterisks on that sentence, because technically there are E60 variants other places in the world that are still running, like the Taiwanese ones, but they're not technically E60s. Imagine not having standard gauge. Yeah, most of Australia can't imagine that. Thoughts on the Purple Line? It's getting built. I think it's fine. I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. It's got most of its right of way is not shared any traffic, so it should be fine. As long as it gets signal priority, it will be pretty decent. Australia has 5 gauges. Yes, no, I like it when they have the dual gauge track. That's really neat. Really, probably sucks to maintain, but it's cool. Let's see, what are we? But yeah, I think we'll be finishing up. So yeah, one or two more, and then be wrapping up the stream. And like I said, I'm gonna try to make this pretty routine so that it's every Sunday. We're gonna iron out the kinks of the stupid computer, right? And so I'm not gonna have the issues that I had tonight. Otherwise, yeah, every Sunday, and I might be in different locations because sometimes I'm traveling or sometimes I'm visiting my girlfriend. So it might not always be this set behind me, but I'll make sure to always have good audio, a good setup of some sort. SMTA study, Gary Subway generally took 10 years off my life. Yeah, how they're building that thing is goofy. I also like, they should be focusing on other things in San Francisco. I don't know why they're focusing so much on that thing specifically. Also, it's just annoying that BART and Muni are different systems. The whole Bay Area should be one system. I don't understand. Cine Standard Gate, yeah. 0 lessons learned in the Silicon Valley Extension Central Subway. California's example is screwing up so much. There's a lot of good things that are happening in California. Unfortunately, they're being overshadowed by a lot of incompetence usually. I mean, California's... So I made this prediction 5 years ago, and I think I'm going to be right. 5 years ago, we were hearing about Brightline West, we were hearing about the Texas high-speed project, and we were hearing about other things, and California high-speed rail. And I have been firm on my belief that California high-speed rail will be the first project outside of the Northeast to have a high-speed train running in the U.S. I don't believe Brightline West is going to actually build out as much. Actually, I think it's going to struggle to just get finished. And then obviously the Texas one has been delayed. So I think I'm gonna win that $50 against someone of California high speed rail will be the first to run high speed trains outside of the Northeast. Currently no construction plans for Geary Subway. Muni and BART, it's not, yeah, no. I mean, all the Bay Area transit agencies do not want to be merged for different reasons. Some very racist reasons, others just administrative reasons of I don't want to lose my job. And it has some weird built elements that are generally cursed. Overall solid project. I agree. California high-speed rail will be first, at least minimum operating setting. Yes. I can't believe the fastest train in the U.S. will be between Bakersfield and Merced. I think a lot of the conservatives and people against California high-speed rail are really concerned about it because the second it will start running and the second that Americans see a 220 mile an hour train in the US moving and there's videos of it, it's over. It's over for them. The excuses of not building this shit is over. Especially if it's in California. You mean the state that can't build anything is the one that built it first, compared to like Texas or Nevada or something like that? So the arguments against high-speed rail, once the first video of that thing comes out of it moving, it's over. And that's why I think so many people are like, aside from obviously picking apart the actual problems with the project, I think there's a lot of fear-mongering in that direction because of that. Would argue Oklahoma is going to have high-speed rail before California. Brightline West doesn't have funding guarantees yet to begin construction. What if Sarah wins? I don't think even if he wins, it would get canceled. I would think there's too much... what's the term? I think there's too much political inertia to keep the project alive, and I also think that he would never hear the fucking end of it from advocates if he does it. So even if he says that's a thing that he would maybe screw with or cancel or something like that, I don't think it would happen. I know conservatives who actually support. Yeah, I know there's a decent amount. There's a decent amount of conservatives that actually support high-speed rail. It's just frustrating because they should probably not be conservatives if they truly believe in that kind of stuff, because that's not the type of party that would support that. Reasoning, emphasis, yeah. At this point, they're waist deep in sunken cost fallacy. Yeah, basically my thoughts. Redo the business plan from scratch. I mean, he feel free. He can redo the business plan all he wants. He's gonna run into the same problems that they're currently running into. But yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap up a little bit. So I guess hopefully this week some video will come out related to just the Talking Heads video, but I'm also working on that one Boomer Gen X video that I was talking about, where it's like talking about why they necessarily don't like cities and how a lot of urbanists kind of skip over those facts. And then should be a Queens Link video before the end of the month, because we need to talk about that just generally, because apparently Mondami is not supporting it, so or at least vocally not supporting it, maybe supporting it, the idea in secret and not really telling people about it. I don't know. What I've been told internally, it's just we need to yell about it, basically. But hello, since project announced, I've been boycotting every brand from every European country, including Intermittent Belt, Canada, and New Zealand. Interesting. Mondami low-key felt, nah, he's fine. Mondami is actually doing a really good job, doing a better job than any mayor in the country at the moment. I wish Philly had someone like him. It often makes me consider being like, damn, I wonder if I could do that. Or run a campaign in a way that like essentially fights off the machine, the democratic machine of like machine politicians, and just like, could someone that comes out of nowhere win? And I think that he's a great example of that. Granted, he was in politics to start with. He was a state rep, and then ran for the mayorship. But even then, that's still a big, huge step. Let's see. But yeah, I'm going to try to make this every Sunday thing, so I'll keep you guys up to date either way. But yeah, thank you for tuning in tonight, and we will figure out all the computer stuff before the next time, so hopefully we won't run into any of those problems. And yeah, I will hopefully have a lot more stuff uploading. I'm also trying to do more shorts and shorter videos, so look out for those, because I hate being on camera in the shorts. It makes the TikTok and shorter stuff I never understood, but it's useful to do. It does convince a lot of people. Yeah. Want to go flipping at the bots in Center City? Maybe. But yeah, anyway, you guys have a good night. And I will see you hopefully next Sunday. We'll try to plan something interesting for next Sunday, because possibly I might be in the Poconos or something for next Sunday, especially if it's the big boy related thing. So yeah, have a good night, or if you're in a different spot in the world, good morning or good day, and I will see you all in the next one. So yeah, thanks for stopping by.